when we really start, we will be equal or sometimes we will be leading others. Therefore, there is a lot of scope for innovation, thinking, and some of you who dare to tread a new path may become leaders in this field, and you may involve a course which all others over the world may also try to look at and follow. But I think we have to, many other universities abroad are already thinking on these lines. There are some attempts, but if you start, you have a scope of becoming a leader, which is what a country like India deserves to be. Now, after MTech, I will come to research level, where I think there is very easy to do things which are relevant to sustainable development. I think in my view, for many of you in the faculty, this will be possible to reorient your research effort in such a way that these get linked to sustainable development. Your research expertise in such areas will also then strengthen the effort to develop forces about which I have already talked. As an illustration, because in research there will be great variety and it will depend upon all the individuals who are pursuing different topics, and I am just mentioning a few areas which the list is just illustrative and is sort of biased by my own limited awareness in this, but it illustrates what we can do. As I said, the very fact that global warming is due to the present fossil fuel based generation of energy. So therefore, we have to make a shift, and the problem of energy, climate change and sustainable development are inextricably intertwined. Our technologies for energy production today are responsible for all the pollution which is causing, as I said, acid precipitation, greenhouse gases which cause global warming and climate change. We must pay adequate attention in our research to renewable and non-polluting sources of energy. Some areas where a lot of research is going on and where this institute, the people in this institute could also reorient and change could be, and I don't know in detail the areas where the work here is going on. And this involves both engineering, sciences, management also. Photovoltaic cells is one area where there is a lot of effort, a lot of work happening. Hydrogen production and storage, fuel cells, biofuels, new materials through green chemistry. In the following, I shall briefly touch only on three areas to just sort of expand on what I said, but not in detail, because each of them would be a topic for a series of lectures. But I will tell you briefly a kind of bird's eye view, not a total, but very sort of in very few words, the way the three fields are emerging, photovoltaic cells, biofuels, and the new materials through green chemistry. Now, let me start with photovoltaic cells. We currently tap only a very small fraction of solar energy which falls on Earth, which is a vast source of clean energy, because as you all know, fossil fuels also are in a way solar energy stored in the form of coal petroleum out of the energy which came from the sun and the plants which they got buried in millions of years back. So therefore, this sun is the source of energy which we want to use. The main problem with the currently available photovoltaic solar cells, where you directly want to convert sun's light into electricity, is that the electricity we generate through the photovoltaic cells is still costly compared to the cost of electricity generated from the fossil fuels in our powerhouses. Then this is changed on one direction, because fossil fuels like the petroleum is becoming costlier, carbon, the coal is too polluting, and so on. If one counts the cost of pollution, so if one is already finding that the fossil fuels, the cost is going up, and on the other hand, the photovoltaics, because of the new technologies, new materials development, the costs are going down. So far, silicon has been the favorite material, and the production costs and the kind of improvement that are happening, there is a change, and there is a lot of research that is being done. Actually, many scientists are attempting to follow nature today, and a lot of research is being done on this area. Life on Earth, as you all know, is powered by sun through photosynthesis. The photosynthesis in plants, how does that plants use that energy? Scientists are going to learn from that, and that is what is known as mimicking or copying nature. It should be possible, and there are some successes, not in India but outside, to make molecular assemblies. There are self-assemblies which can do photosynthesis, and if that succeeds, there are preliminary successes, then I think that will be a new way of using solar energy in a manner which nature does. And in addition to that, a lot of work is being done on photovoltaic solar cells, where one is using cheaper materials than silicon, like organic materials, which are a lot cheaper and not easy to process, and which need much less energy. Similarly, people are working on nano solar cells, as well as trying to improve the efficiency of the solar cells, so that one can get more electricity out of the sunlight. Under the National Solar Mission Program, which I mentioned, a National Center for Photovoltaic Research and Education is being set up at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, to provide technical backup so that the country can achieve the targets that have been already fixed by the government. The target is 1,000 megawatts by 2013 and 20,000 megawatts by 2022. So this is already reached. The only problem today is that all this technology is being imported, and I think this efforts like setting up this center at IIT, etc., our inherent capabilities will be able to take up and improve and do further because of the time needed. I think at the moment the government had decided to import technology. So the second area which I will just mention is biofuel, where a lot of scope of work is there, especially by chemical engineers, and many people are working in many institutions in India also. Actually, as I said, plant stores some energy for us, and then it can be used by us for generating energy for our use. That is what biofuels are being already used, such as ethanol made from corn and maize, and biodiesel made from jojoba seeds. They are already there. But the problem with these is that if you want to produce more biofuel, you will have to put more agricultural land under maize cultivation, etc., or whatever you want to convert into ethanol, and this will affect our food production, which we don't want. Therefore, there is a limit. What people are doing in our country also is they are working on use of agricultural and forest waste residue for fuel production. But the existing methods of production are not cost effective. Again, cost is coming, and also scaling up is an issue. And what is the hope is that people will find new catalysts where such biomass from forest or from agricultural waste, which has a lot of cellulosic matter, can then be processed and to give us biofuels in large quantities. But this is still at the lab scale, and this is an area where there is an expertise here. One to do this is very, very important for us. Now, new materials through green chemistry, I just want to make you familiar because I think this is where the future is in materials. The production of new materials through green chemistry should be an integral part of any sustainable development. There are 12 principles of the green chemistry. They were enunciated by Paul T. Anastas and J.C. Warner in 1998. I will not sort of elaborate on each of them, but it is worth mentioning because I think students also should be familiar about what this green chemistry is. And this green word is becoming very fashionable. Like today there are two fashionable words, one is nano, other is this green. Now in the green chemistry, the 12 principles or 12 requirements for green chemistry are, first is prevention. It is better to prevent waste rather than to clean up the waste. That is prevention. Number 2, atomic economy. In the synthesis of all components used to make a final product, all the components be maximally used so that the waste is minimal. Number 3, less hazardous chemical synthesis. Methods should use and generate materials that possess little or no toxicity. No may not be possible, therefore this choice, little is there. Number 4, designing safer chemicals. Products should have desired functions but minimum toxicity. Number 5, safer solvents and auxiliaries, the materials which you use in the process of synthesis should have minimum toxicity. Number 6, design for energy efficiency. Energy requirements for chemical processes should be minimized. Number 7, use of renewable feedstock. Raw materials should be renewable rather than depleting to the extent possible. Number 8, reduce derivatives because the derivatization leads to additional waste products. Number 9, catalysis. The use of catalytic reagents are superior to stoichiometric reagents because they eliminate byproduct formation. Number 10, design for degradation. The chemical products which you want to produce should be designed in such a manner that at the end of their function, they break down into innocuous products. Number 11, real-time analysis for pollution prevention. Analytical tools should be developed to allow real-time in-process monitoring to control the formation of hazardous materials. Lastly, 12, inherently safer chemistry for accident prevention. Substances used in chemical processes should be chosen to minimize the potential for chemical accidents like release of toxic materials, explosions and fires. Some examples of developments using green chemistry are work on which one is developing new catalysts which will play a very important role, nanomaterials for composites and many other uses, synthesis of fine and superfine chemicals, and degradable polymers. Degradable polymer, as you all know, is so important for us. Now, I'd like to conclude, because my time is nearly up. I would say the suggestion of giving a place to sustainable development in engineering curriculum and research may sound radical to some of you, but I would urge you to examine it with all seriousness. Only institutions like IITs and NITs can examine such issues in their entirety and take corrective measures. These institutions have the collective intelligence and quality of people to suggest how our educational system meets the enormous challenge presented by unsustainable development that we are having. NITs are our quality institutions capable of providing such leadership. The quality standards of most of our private engineering institutions are mostly poor. They are owned by many times by rich shopkeepers, contractors, sometimes even by liquor barons who have only profits in mind, not the quality of education. You cannot expect them to worry about issues like sustainable development. If given the freedom, they would like to bury sustainability deep down, not to be mentioned again. The purpose of education is not only to get a well-paid job, we should also teach our students how to deal with life and sort out conflicts. Actually, before coming here, we were just having discussion on our breakfast table, how different is the gap between the young youth of today and people like me. But it is good to share our experiences